and welcome back, everyone. Welcome to the 56th episode of File New. My name is Ryan Selvy, and I am here to bring you the best artist, creator, and tech news to get you through the week. Today is Monday, May 6th. Adobe Live is off air today, but we're still here, so what's up? Today's show, we've got a lot for you. TikTok and Universal Music Group are back together. Instagram is changing the algorithm to highlight original creators. Warren Buffett compared AI to nuclear warfare. There's a free typeface that lets you create fun little creatures. We have some books to add to your summer reading list. Skittle rebrand or refresh is happening. More than 50 short films on YouTube to check out for free. Allie walks us through some fun hyperlinks and a whole lot more. Since Adobe Live is off air today, we're here for about an hour, but there's nothing else on the TV. So let's see how long we go. We're going to try to shoot for an hour, but for the first time in like forever, I'm not going to necessarily get cut off. So that might be a pro or might be a con. Let's hop on into news. All right, guys, so we got a lot of news, like I said. Starting off, though, we're going to start with some meta news. Meta's text platform Threads is letting users have more control over who can quote their post. Adam Mosseri announced the update over the weekend, and he said, the ability to limit who can quote your Threads post is now available to everyone. You can allow quotes from everyone on Threads, only the people you follow, or disable quote posts entirely. I hope this will help keep Threads a more positive place and give people more control over their experience. If you've been using this feature, would love to hear your thoughts. That said, I will say that there were some negative responses in the thing for himself. So kind of him talking about it being a positive experience was a little funny. But I mean, I guess they were replies and they weren't quotes. But it is interesting to see them continuously add other features that kind of seem antithetical to Twitter and open conversation. I know they're trying to be a different platform. It's weird to see. Also, Cody is saying in the chat that we're going to get cut off no matter what on the Behance side. So we're going to still try to keep it to an hour. But also hello to Raquel over in the YouTube chat. Good to see you. We won't get cut over on YouTube. So if I get cut off, hop over to YouTube and we'll still be here. Moving on, we have some Blue Skies updates. Jack Dorsey, the founder of Twitter, is no longer a part of Blue Sky's board. This reporting comes from Wes Davis at The Verge, and Dorsey started funding the decentralized version of the platform back in 2019 when he was still CEO of Twitter. The news broke over the weekend when ex-user JGLYPT point blank asked him, "You still on Blue Sky board?" And Jack just responded, "No." That's it. No further context, nothing more. But yesterday, Blue Sky's official account confirmed the change with a post saying, "We sincerely thank Jack for his help funding and initiating the Blue Sky project. Today, Blue Sky is thriving as an open source social network running on @Proto, the decentralized protocol we have built. With Jack's departure, we are searching for a new board member for the Blue Sky Public Benefit Company who shares our commitment to building a social network that puts people in control of their experience. More to come." So we will see. As you guys know, Blue Sky is my favorite Twitter competitor. You can find me there at ryanselvy.com. Also, if you just go to ryanselvy.com, it is linked, so it'll be there. TikTok and Universal Music Group are back together. Who said that, breakups are forever? The two have settled their differences and announced they'd struck a deal in a joint announcement on May 2nd. Thanks to Charlotte Colombo for reporting on this for Passion Fruit. Universal Music Group pulled their music back in January over the inability to come to an agreement over licensing. TikToks with Universal Music Group music had the music muted, prompted users to replace the track with an approved song. Now it looks like the music will be coming back very soon, and the company said that they will deliver improved remuneration. What is that? Remuneration for UMG's songwriters and artists, new promotional and engagement opportunities for the recordings and songs, and industry-leading protections with respect to generative AI. This is something I was not anticipating. I thought that especially with TikTok in the news so much, Universal Music Group would pull their resources and put them elsewhere. But it's interesting to see that creators now that had that might be able to add it again. I will be interested to see if it is something that, like, you know how they muted them, we were just saying. I'm wondering now if you can go in and you can change the songs again, because to my knowledge, you can't really change the music post-posting on really anything else. But because they had to do that with muted ones to then add music again, I wonder if you can then take that music off and put it back, or if they'll switch back. I'm sure it's all in the agreements between Universal Music Group and TikTok, but we'll just see how it plays out, because it's still a developing story. Meta's Instagram is deprioritizing repost accounts, which I think is good news. Meta posted guidance titled "Helping Creators Find New Audiences" on April 30th. And the post says that accounts that regularly repost content without adding additional value will be deprioritized in the service's platform. Charlotte Colombo is on a tear reporting for Passion Fruit. Thank you again to Passion Fruit for reporting about this. The idea is that if two accounts post the same reel, the original poster's version will be the one that's amplified via Instagram's recommended algorithm. Additionally, Instagram is adding a label to posts that posts are reposts that can link to the original account. And that said, it's reported that either account will be able to remove this labeling, and Meta said that this is a part of a new input to ranking that will give smaller creators more distribution. I know that from my personal experience that when I was making webcomics and I was in the webcomic community a lot of people were really upset about these reposting accounts, because it was this kind of double-edged sword where, to one degree, you were excited that you were getting reposted to a larger audience and people could find your account. But at the same time, these accounts were often profiting or really just getting a lot of traction off of your content. And a lot of times that you could get literally millions of likes on this account, and it could maybe only get you a few thousand on yours, which I know beggars can't be choosers, but when it's your original content, it's like they're profiting off of you. So yes, you can. So it's a nice development to see. I'm interested of how much it will actually be reflected on my feed. I'm hoping to find new creators through it and maybe have less stuff. I'm also wondering how it's affecting memes, because memes obviously are things that are reposted a lot. But nice to see that Instagram is addressing it. A big part of it, I think, is also because of the whole TikTok drama. I think Instagram is trying to really be like, pick me, let us be the people that replace TikTok. And so they're trying to be more forward about what makes the algorithm, because right now, as it always has been, it's really kind of been a black box. In some Pinterest news, I feel like we never really talk about Pinterest on this show, but Pinterest says its AI-powered collages are getting 3 times more engagement than traditional pins. Reporting comes from Sarah Perez at TechCrunch, and the collages feature launch as a standalone app called Shuffles back in 2022. And after seeing great success, it was later integrated natively into Pinterest. CEO Bill Reddy said users are roughly 3 times more likely to save collage pins versus other pins on Pinterest, and a significant portion contains clickable products. The collages allow users to cut out pieces of images and put them together as if they were a traditional collage you'd make from like a magazine with scissors and glue. But you can click and shop on many of the products that are included in the collages, which are cool. So you can create like mood boards and style guides. According to Sarah Perez, Pinterest says it aims to better cater to its Gen Z user base, which is now unusually the fastest growing demographic on the site. I have used Pinterest for inspiration grids for my own illustrations. I also have used it for interior design. I'm getting married soon, so it'll probably be something I use for a wedding. Which I also feel like is a very big user base. But it is interesting to see this because it is, once again, incorporating the idea of creators and having their personal touch onto things. Bex is in the chat saying, I love Pinterest, but there's so much AI art there lately. So that's also something that is a battle in it. It's always a changing platform. It's interesting to see Pinterest back in the news and survive through all these years. But I think overseas it's also doing really well. So something to just keep your eye on. Speaking of AI, though, Bex, we talked a lot about AI girlfriends and their blatant disregard for users' data privacy on an episode with producer Allie a few months ago. But what about the dating apps to talk to potential real girlfriends? Your data isn't safe there either. Jessica Lyons for The Register reports that dating apps vacuum up way more user information than they need to and do a terrible job at safeguarding the information they collect. The Mozilla Foundation labeled 22 out of 25 dating apps with the privacy not included warning. This includes big names that you'd recognize like Match, Bumble, Tinder, Grindr, Christian Mingle, and JDate, but no mention of Farmers Only. Does Farmers Only still exist? If they do, they're passing the data test. The farmers care about your data. According to the Register's article, in addition to harvesting things like photos and details about your race, religion, political views, sexual preferences, HIV status, which Grindr just got in trouble about, and weight, 1/4 of the apps surveyed also collected metadata from users' content, and at least one may store video chats, which is so scary. Like why are they keeping your video chats at all? Now, in fact, 80% of dating apps say that they may share or sell users' personal information for advertising, which, once again, like these are very vulnerable, intimate conversations, whether that is, promiscuous conversations or just like really opening up to someone because you're really putting yourself out there to find a date. And just keep in mind that your data is fodder for them to sell. So just keep that in mind if you're on the app still. I'm rooting for you if you're on the apps. I know the apps are tough. AI can't solve all your problems, but especially when it comes to betting on horses. The Kentucky Derby was this Saturday, and the team at Decrypt built a GPT they named Horse GPT to predict the winners. And to quote Jose Antonio Lanz, the team carefully curated prompts to instill Horse GPT with expertise in data science specific to horse racing, how weather affects times, the role of jockeys, riding styles, the importance of post positions, and so on. And then they fed it in a mix of research papers and blogs covering the theoretical aspects of wagering and layered on practical knowledge, how to read racing forms, what the statistics mean, which factors are most predictive, expert betting strategies, and more. And finally, they gave HorseGPT a wealth of historical Kentucky Derby data, arming it with raw information needed to put its freshly imparted skills to use. Now, HorseGPT recommended betting on a horse called Just a Touch to finish in first or second, and it ended up finishing dead last. But it also suggested Sierra Leone, who won second in a rare 3-way photo finish, which is kind of cool. And the team over at The Athletic turned to Google Gemini for a winner, and it chose Catching Freedom, but that ended up finishing fourth. Then it gave an entirely different answer when asked to predict the winner with an Italian accent. And I am not going to cancel myself and try to do that on stream, but it gave a different horse when asked to do an Italian accent in a very comedic way. Now, there's a few other fun ways of navigating Horse GPT. Check out the post by editor David from the Naysayers department on Slashdot. And Naysayers is the Neigh sayers, which I think is hilarious, and thumbs up to that, even if it didn't get anybody money with betting and horses. I don't know. Microsoft has been a big person of AI, and they actually reaffirmed its ban on U.S. police departments using their AI services for facial recognition. The code of conduct was updated on May 1st, and this is a good thing. This was reported on by Kyle Wiggers for TechCrunch. I remember listening to the Vergecast back in October about a secret startup called Clearview, which is really scary, and it's a controversial AI company that has created some of the most sophisticated facial recognition software ever made, and you could plug in someone's face into the system, and it could find every picture of that person on the internet with alarming accuracy. These systems are moving really fast, and I'm ready to wear like a Darth Vader mask just to walk around soon, because basically when they were doing, the Vergecast was doing their journalism, and they were trying to do some investigative reporting. They got access to the service through like different workarounds, and then when they found out it was a journalist, they completely cut off and like a flag to the system so that they couldn't check it out. This isn't Microsoft, this is separate. I'm just saying that it's good that Microsoft is now there saying, no, we don't want our systems to be used in this way, which is interesting to see. In some other AI news, Ars Technica Benj Edwards reports a mysterious GPT-2 chatbot model has appeared and is confusing experts. Some people speculate that it may be a secret text version of OpenAI's upcoming GPT 4.5 or GPT large language model. that's expected this summer, but it doesn't seem impressive enough. And some speculate that it might be the next half model, the same way that like 3.5 exists as a faster model. AI researcher Simon Willison said that he also found hints that ChatGPT made its own GPT. What if we have GPTs that make GPTs that make GPTs that make GPTs that make GPTs? What is it? A simulation inside a simulation inside a simulation. I don't know. We'll see. And then Tristan Green from Cointelegraph reports Warren Buffett compared AI to nukes. Warren Buffett is currently the 9th richest person in the world, and they actually leverage AI in their company. But in a recent annual shareholder meeting, he recounted his experience with a deepfake of himself that looked, dressed, and moved and talked like him. He said, AI has potential for good things too, but I don't know how you, based on the one I saw recently, I practically would send money to myself over in some crazy country, which also... Why did you say some crazy country? What does that even mean? Okay. But AI has now been compared on this show to nuclear technology, the steam engine, the creation of fire, and a grifting bubble. What a range. But that's all our headlines that we have for this week. We still have a bunch of the show. We're about 15 minutes in, so we're making good time. Oliver's asking what our reality is over in the chat over on Behance. Love to hear your guys' thoughts. Keep them coming. And let's hop on into Font of the Week. So the font of the week this week is actually not on Adobe Typekit. Normally it is on Adobe Typekit, but don't worry guys, it still is a free typeface. And the reason I chose this one is it's a really cool like art project that is like a little monster creator. The font of the week this week is a free typeface from Tunera.xyz, and the typeface called Terranoptia is more of an art project than a typeface. It's very Wingdings in nature, if you guys remember Wingdings. And according to the site, Terrantopia is a typeface without letters, a peculiar contraption that allows you to imagine chimeric creatures just by typing letters with your keyboard. Its design has been inspired by the Bayeux tapestry and by medieval illustrations as well as children's books. Since each letter is a different icon, it's fun to build creatures by writing gibberish and mashing the keyboard until you find a head and a butt, and then finding fun middle pieces to add. The site suggests you can use it to create border ornaments, to daydream about monsters, or just to spice your layouts with marginalia. Now I'm going to go ahead and share my screen real quick in Photoshop to just show you guys how this works, because it is fun. And we'll just like write some gibberish. I'll make it nice and big. And you can see, this is Adobe Clean, but when you go and you change it to the typeface, Terran, it then gives us these little creatures. Now, you can, like I said, make little gibberish and then see kind of what pops up and what pops to the left. But in my experience, I found out that if you just type the alphabet, everything in caps, it has everything go to the right. And then if you put it in lowercase, everything goes to the left. So what you can do is like, I can identify that the snakehead is A, and then B, C, and then maybe like, rather than DG, we go to like G, and then HIJ, like K, N, O. And then we have this like cool little creature. And it's completely free to use. I think you can even use it commercially, I believe. Double check that. Don't quote me on that entirely. But you can use them in little borders. Like I said, you go left or right. You can also, you know, do something where it's like let's do B. You can do it like double-headed, which is kind of fun. And just like fun to kind of mess around with and see what's up. It's a goofy typeface. It's based off of Chimera, which is, I think, Greek animals, Greek gods' animals, and it's all these different mythology behind it. And so maybe not necessarily anything for you to write a message to someone. I mean, unless you want to have it cryptic, and you have to kind of like figure out how to do it, but something cool nonetheless. Kind of fun, like hyperlinks. And that's a great segment into our next segment, which is hyperlinks, and we're gonna kick it over to Allie. Oliver's in the chat saying, Ryan said it's okay. No, that is not legal defensible at all. You will go to jail. All right, take it away, Allie.
Hi, Ryan. And hi, my file newbies. File heads? I don't know. What should we call ourselves? You tell me in the chat. I think file newbies could be a good name for our fan base. First up, if you've been struggling with self-esteem lately, or you could just use a little pick-me-up, little boost, then bookmark complimentme.replit.app. It's a really cute, simple app that asks for your name, how you're feeling, and then gives you space to rant so it can tailor its compliment accordingly. So let's check it out. For example, I'll say my name is Allie because it is. Say that I'm also going to say I'm feeling stressed. And I'm going to rant about my boss. Yeah, my boss, Ryan, is always on my case about the live stream. He says I'm not living up to his expectations. It's crazy. He's always on my case. So then you just click compliment me, and I get this really long tailored compliment. It says, I'm so sorry to hear that you're going through this. First of all, let me tell you that you're an amazing person and a hard worker, and don't let anyone make you feel otherwise. It sounds like Ryan can be pretty tough to deal with, but try not to take his criticism personally. Instead, ask him for specific feedback on what you can improve on and how you can meet his expectations. This way you'll have a clear idea of what he's looking for, and you can work together to achieve it. Remember, you got this. You're capable and talented, and don't let anyone dull your sparkle. Wow, what a compliment. You also have the option to take a screenshot and share the compliment with your friends, which I personally am a little too shy to do, but I like to think our live stream viewers, our file newbies, or our file heads are brave, so maybe you'll do it. If you're feeling good from that compliment and you're ready to take in some natural beauty, check out the video Monet's Garden from CBS Sunday Morning's YouTube channel, which I accidentally put in the script as Money's Garden, but it's Monet's Garden. This is nearly 3 minutes of just video of water lilies in the French town of Giverny. I don't quite remember. Apologies to my hot French teacher. There's no music, it's just natural sounds and immersion in the scenery that might look familiar to you, especially any art buffs that are watching or listening, because these are the descendants of the water lilies that inspired Impressionist painter Claude Monet. He first began painting water lilies in 1899, throwback, and they became a recurring subject in his work for the rest of his life. His water lily series is comprised of 250 paintings. That's a lot of lilies. It's a lot of lilies. And this is just like a really peaceful, relaxing video. I kind of want to bookmark it and just have it be my like moment of zen if like things get too stressful at work with my, like I said, very demanding boss. If talking about Claude Monet and 1899 makes you think about the past and just want to like know more about it, then you can spend some time there by going to pastmaps.com. I think I stumbled across this website on Threads or maybe Blue Sky the other day. It's created by a husband and wife team, and the site hosts over 185,000 digitized interactive maps from the United States Geological Survey's historical topographic map collection. Past Maps intends to provide, quote, cutting-edge map tools for historical research. You can explore maps by city or by state, and there's also just the option to explore nearby maps. You can even put in your address, which I'm not gonna do because we're not there yet. I'm not like share my address on the internet yet. But I really enjoyed looking at this 1891 map of Brooklyn. It's actually overlaid on top of Google Maps, which is one of the really cool features. I'm going to zoom in. And you can actually change the opacity so that you can see what modern day Brooklyn looks like. I used to work in the Navy Yard at a production company, and it's cool to see it was still the Navy Yard in 1891, although probably much more for the Navy and not for film production companies. But Yeah, when you lift the opacity, you can see it's still the Navy Yard, but it's got a lot more buildings. If you want to get totally out of the real world, past, present, or future, escape into a brand new reality, you can check out a new browser game, Koru.observer. That's CORRU.observer. It's a really immersive, cool game. And for those of you who are just listening to the podcast, basically you're immediately taken into this like weird dark room with a table and these three pink objects and this like mysterious figure in the corner. And you talk with him and you figure out that it's like these weird objects came from an ocean wreck. So it's a dialogue game. But the music is really spooky. The vibe is really cool and spooky. I'll say like the illustrations, the visuals, they feel well crafted. I feel like I feel the artist's hand in it, even though obviously it's like all digital art. It has this like cool grain. If this game though gets you too hyped up, a little spooked, and you need to calm down, you can go to sleepbaseball.com. I'm someone who needs like a podcast to fall asleep, and this is built for exactly that. This is a show where every episode is a fake baseball game. So it's like white noise or forest sounds. It's built for just relaxing and falling asleep to. It could be a really calming like background noise for when you're like working. I don't know. I kind of enjoy that stuff too. I often pull up, who's the little girl, anime girl who studies, the Chill With Me anime girl? You know her. We all know her. Lo-fi beats to study too. She's like my best friend. My coworker and bestie and crush. It's similar to that. And because it's built for falling asleep too, it doesn't have ads like a lot of other podcasts. Like sometimes I'll be playing a podcast that's great for falling asleep too, and they get jolted awake by an ad. This doesn't have ads. There's no yelling. There's no loud noises. And it's just a fake baseball game, which I find very funny and whimsical. I don't know if you guys in the chat like fall asleep to stuff, or you have perfectly healthy, normal brains and you can just lie down on your pillow and drift off. If so, congrats. Let us know. Let us know your sleep style, newbies. If none of these links have struck you as noteworthy or interesting, you might be tempted to send the classic shrug emoji in the chat. No, I'm not talking about the one on your phone that's a little person, a little cartoon person that you can pull up. I'm talking about the OG, the Gen X/elder millennial shrug emoji that you had to work for. This shrug emoji was brought to life by the sweat of your labor, your fingers tapping out symbol by symbol on the keyboard, bringing a beautiful emotion to life, okay? Using just backslashes and paragraph curves. But if you're like me, you probably can't remember how to make the original shrug emoji. That's why there's copyshrugemoji.com. This is a website that I look for about every 6 months and then forget and then just Google it again. But it's copyshrugemoji.com. You just tap, boom, you got the shrug in, and you paste the shrug. I hope you like today's hyperlinks and that you don't shrug off my suggestions. If you have any suggestions of your own for next week's hyperlinks, you can email us at filenewshow@gmail.com. Till next time, my file newbies, my file heads. That's it. Okay, Ryan, wash me away.
Yeah, no, I remember specifically being like in like elementary school or middle school and like trying to figure out how to get the Japanese character on my keyboard so that I could do the shrug emoji. Never figured it out. I mean, it was like something with Alt and you could use like the numpad to get it if you had like Latin characters. But I like having it, and yeah, I'm still a big. It's a showing of my age, but I also just like to use a lot of emotes and emoticons. But Claire says all my OG emojis are inappropriate. And Oliver says, yeah, I used to know how to type that before the image emojis existed. Yeah, now see, we've gotten spoiled. Now we have too much. It's a great resource, and that's a great transition into resources. Also, hello to Bianga. Thank you for calling that out. Keys, appreciate you. And thank you also, everyone, for putting the shrug emoji in chat. If you guys are watching the replay of this, make sure you have a shrug emoji in the comments. Also, Fetty, Hi, Fetty. Welcome to the chat. Saying she likes my hat. It's from a place up in Greenpoint, I believe. Vandal's here too. Hey, Vandal, what's up? We were just starting off our resources segment, and this is the first one. It's from Colossal. And if you're looking for some money for a project or an arts residency to expand your creative skill, Grace Everett from Colossal rounded up open calls, residencies, and grants for artists. The list includes international calls for work with prizes like exhibition opportunities, residencies, and cash prizes. It has 13 open calls, 9 grants, and 10 opportunities in their section of residencies, fellowships, and more. Some deadlines have already passed, but others are open until like September, so you have some time. Just remember to bookmark this. I think they tend to do this like every month, so there's also, if you're looking at this like, in June, there might be some new ones that they bring in as well. Next up, Jason Hellerman over at No Film School, which just as an entire website is really helpful to just keep in your bank. And they wrote up a great cheat sheet for talking about film analysis after we watched a free 90-minute YouTube video by Patrick Williams. Both the video and the cheat sheet response are great resources to have. They talk about proper language, steps for analyzing, different classifications of film analysis, like ideological, formalist, psychoanalytic. The cheat sheet reminds you to look for key subjects like the character development, historical context, personal responses, and more. Art can bring up important and impactful societal changes or reflection, but it also is up to us to be able to meaningfully articulate and analyze the art that we consume. It's not necessarily in this one, but also a thing that I have learned about analyzing how a film is edited is to literally just have a piece of paper, and while you're watching, just make a little tick to see how many times the camera angle switches, whether it goes back and forth. But it just makes you to be more cognizant and aware of the idea of film editing and how much our brain is able to just accept and understand as reality. And you don't realize there's as many cuts as there are. And if you're looking to learn more about editing and you want to see how something is edited, that's another way to do it. It's not mentioned in this, but just add it to it when you're checking it out. And then our last resource for this week is it's almost beach book season, and it's time to add to your reading list. The team at Hyperallergic curated 14 art books to read this summer. They have something for everyone, with deeply personal accounts of surviving a knife attack in Knife Meditations After an Attempted Murder by Salman Rushdie, to beautiful, vulnerable graphic novels, which I love a graphic novel, called This Country Searching for Home in Very Rural America by Naveed Mahdavian. And you can read the full list and let me know what you want to read, or if you have suggestions of your own. Do you guys have any books or stuff that you are currently reading or you want to read this summer? Ones that you've read in the past that would be really good for the beach. I am excited about the warmer weather, and I tend to read the most in summer because that's when, you're on the beach and you don't have cell service and you don't really want to look at your phone anyway. And it's nice to just be able to read. All right. Now let's go ahead and also Keys is saying that escalated for the knife thing. Yeah, I know, but it's cool. I mean, it could be anything. You can be getting inspiration from art, or you could be learning about really deeply personal experiences that happened to someone and how they grew from it. But speaking of warm weather, let's talk about Ticketbooth, because it's nice enough to not hide inside all day, and you can actually go see in-person events. So let's check out Ticketbooth. So for Ticketbooth this week, our friends over at Hyperallergic wrote up 10 shows to see in Los Angeles this May and 8 art shows to see in New York City. Why did I say New York City like that? New York City. In LA, there is a show by Jackie Amezquita. It's Amezquita. Jackie Amezquita. And it looks really cool. It features a 14-foot long multi-panel of soil paintings, and it incorporates the soil along the U.S.-Mexico border with scenes carved into the pieces of the blocks. There is a show in tribute to artist Raz_G, who unexpectedly died in 2019. The show has over 5,000 records lent by friends and family. It includes music, equipment, instruments, gadgets, books, clothing, And I really wanted to include this one because it just looks like a really intimate and interactive experience to remember and chronicle the impact of somebody with like earthly possessions. Like we obviously really put ourselves a lot into the things that we interact with a lot, and it is something that just like, I don't know, you kind of have to deal with after someone passes away, whether, you know, it's their clothes or something. And it's cool to be able to remember an artist in this way. It would be cool if when I die, someone were to do this about me, just because, yeah, that it can tell you a lot about a person with the things that they curate and have, or just the things that people remember. There's a Yes, Kawaii is Art Express Yourself show at Japan House, which looks very bright and very fun. Vandal is in the chat saying that Tribeca Film Festival starts the first week of June, which is a really good call out. We'll have to do a little bit of a deeper dive into what is showing at Tribeca, so I will include that on a episode to come. But Vandal, also, if you end up going, I know you're in the New York area, so if you end up going, hit me up, because I definitely am always looking for people to see stuff with, and would love to go see a film with you. And then over to New York City, as we were talking about. The 8 art shows to see in New York City, a few of the ones that I picked out, was a curation by Joy Curtis that features soft sculptures. Now, the soft sculptures are forms that reflect spines, organs, and skeletons, which, but really cool. And there's a show by Rebecca Goyette, which features quilts and ceramics to comment on the matriarchy. It is a collaboration with her mother, which is a great activity for Mother's Day, which is this Sunday in America. For all you Americans out there, make sure you buy a card or get a gift, or just make plans with your mom. And then there is an abstract painting show by Annette Werhan, and that expands on the legacies of Pat Pasloff, Lee Krasner's, Elaine de Kooning, and Joan Mitchell. And then finally, in Chicago, there is a show for Krissa. It's first name only. She didn't use her last name professionally. And it is a really cool neon sculpture show. It mixes concrete and metal and neon together to make these very cool, very brutalist, mixed with pop art sculptures. Krissa's work is from the 1960s, which it looks like it could be made today. And she has made a lot of pieces from discarded commercial signs, cast metal, and neon. Krissa died in 2013, and her work hasn't really been showcased for the last 40 years or so. So if you're in Chicago, check out Wrightwood 659, and it's going on now through July 27th. Time for Rebrand. So, my favorite candy in the world, well, one of them actually, Reese's is up there, but Skittles is also way up there. And Skittles got a brand refresh. It is not a full rebrand. It still has a lot of the same vibe, but it has got some updates to it. Yaya Azaria Clark from It's Nice That did a very fun write-up about this on a recent Skittles rebrand refresh from Elmwood, London. The typeface has been updated on the packaging with a deeper shadow and a little more flair to the letters. The article touches on the importance of maintaining the brand signature, absurdist, and whimsical tone while still refreshing it. And they increased the vibrancy of the iconic rainbow, they increased the energy of the brand, and by design, they made it more fun and engaging to lean into the nostalgic Skittles brand. From the thing over my shoulder, it is these giant Skittles that are falling and hitting different pieces of architecture and terrain. And it looks very similar. Oliver says bright and fun is good, which I agree. And Skittles are just delicious. But I prefer lime over green apple. Do you guys have any feelings about it? My sister, I think, actually likes the green apple, which I don't know where that came from, because we used to line up on candy agreements all the time. Art on the Mart is one of the world's largest digital art platforms that transforms an architectural landmark into a permanent, larger-than-life canvas. This came to my attention via Under Consideration's brand new blog. They have a full write-up by the main thing that caught my eye. They have a full write-up, but the main thing that caught my eye was the gradient as a logo. So the left is the before, the right is after. I think it looks nice. It's cool. It's visually appealing. But it also goes against a lot of what I was fundamentally taught in design school. How can something be a logo with a gradient that doesn't have the flexibility to be able to be put into grayscale or black and white or scaled to a way? That said, mediums and formats are constantly changing. I think that's also a reflection of that. And the brand has a word mark that can be used without the gradient, but it also just is a sign of the times. And it is something that, like, Do we still have to hold on to those rules? The problem is all you need is one time for someone to put your logo into print and it doesn't read the same way. If you're so much going by this gradient in the M, which looks really cool, and then I'm like looking at a piece of newspaper or something. I know, what is it, like 1905? But looking at like a newspaper and all I see is art on the mart, like in black. I don't know if I'm going to make that connection. So from that perspective, I don't think it's a very strong rebrand. But if you throw that out the window and like it's only going to be on digital, then like, yeah, that's pretty cool. I like the embracing of gradients ever since Instagram did it in the mid 20 teens. Is that what we call it? Do we just call them the 20 teens, or do we just call them the teens? I don't know. And the last rebrand for today is also on brand new. They revisited a rebrand from last year called Betterfly. And according to Under Consideration, Betterfly is a personalized protection platform that combines the worlds of insurance, well-being, and purpose into a rewards-based gamified app to empower people to live their best lives. The team at Brand New is at mid-review for the refresh. They say it's pretty at first glance until it starts to fall by the wayside the more you look into it. However, I kind of disagree. I think I just like it straight up. Sure, the E's are a little bit weird how curvy they are in relation to the straight angles of the other forms, but I think that it adds personality to an otherwise very crowded sans serif world of branding. Also, across the board for Betterfly, the personality they have with their characters and colors resonates with me a lot. Is it because it is cartoons and green, and that's my weak point? Maybe. I still love it. Whatever. Let's hop into thoughts. All right, so this is going to touch on a sensitive pot for a lot of people. But Julian Poster wrote a fantastic piece for It's Nice that I recommend everyone read, titled Why Creative Labor Isn't Always Seen as Real Work, and what that means for artists and designers. It explores something all artists are familiar with, the conceived notion that creativity is its own reward and compensation. The sacrifices made when it comes to compensation or fair working conditions are justified because a piece of work is a portfolio piece or good exposure or artists that just get to create art. Julian starts this by starting an interesting dive into the evolution of artist compensation over the centuries. The old idea of patronage was where a wealthy individual would sponsor an artist to create, and not to create a piece in particular, but create for creation, to master the arts. It sounds way more romantic, apparently, than it often turned out to be. And apparently, a lot of work versus compensation was unbalanced. I know there are like several films and stuff about like hitting it big, basically like being paid to just kind of walk around and paint someone's estate for like your life, and you get paid and you get to stay there. Sounds pretty cool. But soon after the Renaissance, we quickly approach the artist market, where artists are considered the antithesis of the consistent, hardworking laborer, and artist as the individual is the contracted worker. But Julian also notes that there's also a hypocritical factor to this mentality, because artists are also expected to constantly be changing and approaching new art to be valuable, but they're not consistent like an assembly line worker, where they want them to be consistent. But if you're consistent, you are consistently inconsistent. Trying to fit a square peg in a round hole, things can get tough for artists to make a living or be satisfied. Many artists fall into accepting bad jobs for the prospect of better jobs or better pay in the future. But then artists work too hard and burn out by making sure the work that they're doing for cheap, underpaid rates are good for future work. Otherwise, you took lower pay for a not great piece that you can't use to get better jobs. Alternatively, they also mention times when you get paid really well, but you lose all access legally to anything you make, like sketches, concepts, art. It all goes to the client, and you often can't explain you were a part of it. I'm looking at you, 4-year gap in a resume. So workforce is tough. What do we do? Julian also takes the time to explore the idea of creative unions and their challenges among artists and political structures, but I'm still stunted to find a hopeful change. Sure, the article mentions that plumbers don't get asked to work overtime. all the time or to work for free. The artist talks about successful strikes that happened in the last year, like the Hollywood ones. And I'm by no means saying I'm anti-union or that I have an answer. I am just so hardwired as an American and as an artist to know that I have to create work to be paid. And it's like ingrained in my brain that I can't even fathom an alternative. I think whatever that abstract concept of an alternative is would be great. I still want to make a video game, and I have no idea how I will ever save enough money to do so. But if I won the lottery as an artist, I think I would still have that itch to be creatively fulfilled and complete that dream. With that said, though, that then brings back up to the creativity is payment, but working conditions and payment are also important. We got to live. I just don't even know what that looks like. Anyway, I think everyone should read the full article. It is linked in the raindrop, which is available in the show description. It's inspiring and upsetting and a call to action. We as artists need to continue to communicate and innovate, not only with our clients, but with each other. The article talks about how, sharing rates is helpful for other artists, and it's specifically helpful a lot of times for younger artists because the industry is changing again, also with the introduction of AI, which also the article touches on. And we should take the moment to change with it. Now, Keys is saying, yes, the plumbers have to find the mushrooms and the princess in another castle. So, you know what? It's me, an artist. We have time for just a few spotlights, so let's go hop into our last segment, which is spotlights. So YouTube is a deep rabbit hole of video essays, celebrity house tours, failed compilations, crying apologies, and even short films. Now, Jason Hellerman from No Film School broke down the best short films on YouTube. There's more than 50 titles for you to watch for free, including pieces by small first-time filmmakers all the way up to Disney. There's a mockumentary about the Grim Reaper. There's old westerns. There's horror shorts. There's comedy. There's sci-fi action. I have not watched them all, not even close. But the ones that I have been great. And dozens of others are on my watch later playlist now, which I definitely suggest that you guys should definitely have a watch later on YouTube, because YouTube has really changed for me over the years is how I interact with it. You can learn a lot, either whether it's through literal tutorials or video essays or just like watching other people's work and, absorbing it. So make a watch later when you're sitting down and you have free time, or even when you're on the toilet, like check out your watch later. Moving on, we also have many people know that Matt Groening for creating The Simpsons. I'll be honest, I never really got into The Simpsons. His other show, though, Futurama, is one of my favorite television shows of all time. It's about a guy named Fry that gets cryogenically frozen New Year's Eve of 1999 into 2000, and then wakes up 1,000 years later in the year 3000. The show has been famously canceled, renewed, canceled, picked up, canceled time and time again. It was like on Fox, then it was on Comedy Central, then it was on Adult Swim, now it's on Hulu, and it'll also be on Disney Plus soon. A new season is on the way again, and also 2 more seasons after that. But I'm also really excited to learn that the concept book is finally coming out. Cheryl Eddy from Gizmodo posted about this last week. It's coming out October 8th and has early drawings of characters, commentary from Matt Groening, got some brand new content, never before seen concept art, sketches, developmental work, and a complete episode guide. And if you've never watched the show, it still holds up. It's really great. Clever says, great news, everyone. Exactly. And so I will be picking this up. I probably honestly even pre-order it because I know I just want to check it out. It has early drawings of Bender already released and Zoidberg. And I just love cartooning. It feels like The Simpsons, but it's not The Simpsons. And I think that any cartoonist or just someone can take a lot from it. Oliver says, all glory to the Hypnotoad. Keith says, shut up and take my money. Yeah, so we got some fans in the chat. I knew I like you guys. And then also we have Grace Ebert for Colossal, Spotlit, Fidencio Fulfilled Perez Documents series. And she says it began as a response to the bureaucracy of the U.S. immigration system. The artist immigrated with his family as a child, making him eligible for the DACA, which is the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. To qualify and retain his status, he needed to collect official documents, the envelopes from which became the substrate for his paintings. He paints these beautiful green foliage paintings on top of envelopes and other discardable material. Grace says his hyper-realistic renderings of potted plants reflect his precarious immigration position as symbols of domesticity and thriving life rest upon discarded mailers that have fulfilled their purposes. It looks like there's about 24 pieces in the series. They're all different plants and all beautiful on an individual level. But also, if you go to that article on Colossal, there's also a shot of them all together, and it makes this very pretty wall garden of different paintings all on top of the like discardable mailers. And that is everything that we have for this week for File New. Look, we're not even going to get cut off. Check that out. Like I said, you can get all of these links available on the raindrop.io that we have linked. And then I'm also working actively to get older episodes links all the way there. Hi, Arnold. He says, first time here. Hello, everyone from California. We are just wrapping up this one, but you'll be able to watch all the replays. File New is the File New show, is the best source of tech news, creative news, and artist news. I'd love to hear from you guys at filenewshow@gmail.com, or please, please, please give the thumbs up to the YouTube or put a comment on YouTube. This is great to have. But yeah, I'm going to get all the links up onto Raindrop.io so you guys can have access to it. I don't know when our next show is going to be. I'm going to have a meeting about it, I think tomorrow or Wednesday. So I will let you guys know in that regard. Please follow me on Instagram at Ryan Selvy or on Blue Sky. You can go to ryanselvy.com and it'll get you there. But thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you to producer Allie for participating. I will also add the disclaimer that all thoughts and opinions are not reflective of Adobe. They are individual, Ryan Selvy and Allie. And yeah, thank you guys for being here. Hello to all our new viewers. Thank you for the new people that tuned in. This is a podcast, so if you also want to have this on your phone while you're driving, or if you're out and about and you weren't able to catch the whole thing, just search for File New Show on either Spotify or on iTunes, you name it, and you should be able to get it. Thank you to Cody for showing up even on her day off and for putting all the links into the chat. I really do appreciate that because she did not have to be here, and I really respect and appreciate the support, and I appreciate all the support from you guys. So I'm going to stop rambling. It'll be a little bit of a shorter episode, but that's fine because we ain't got nothing else. So oh, sweet. And Catherine just subscribed on Spotify. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. And tell your friends, and we will hopefully all see you all again next week. Thanks for watching, guys.